So hello and welcome to my channel. This is my first video. I've put together a little video of myself travelling to and from work on my usual commute, but instead of taking the quickest or most efficient route, I either go to a different station in the morning or I get off a little bit early and I try to take some interesting pictures along the way. It's a way of trying to include my photography into my everyday commute. I've got a busy work and family life. I've got a 2-year-old daughter. I work in the city in a relatively stressful, long-hour job, but I'm also absolutely passionate about photography. So one of the things I like to do is find interesting ways that I can fit taking photographs, finding interesting scenes into my everyday life. The obvious one, and the one that I'm choosing to do my first video on, is just on my commute. There are a few other things that I like to do, and hopefully they'll be the subject of future videos, but this one is kind of just the one that I probably do most often, which is just get to work, but bring a camera along with me. And I was testing out my new 50mm old vintage nickel lens on my M11P body, as well as my 135mm old M mount Leica. Yeah, let's see how we go for the first video, and hopefully I'll learn something from doing this too. All right, so morning commute, this time on the Northern Line. I'm gonna walk down to South Wimbledon. It's quite a nice morning. It's not my normal route, but I think worth a go. Trying out something a little bit different this morning. Got my M11P, but with this old vintage Nikon Nikkor from my film camera. Yeah, I've not tried this lens on this camera before. Let's see how it goes. Looks pretty clear though, in pretty good condition. Confusingly, the range on the focus ring goes from left to right, infinity, to 0.6, whereas all of my M-mount, Leica M-mount lenses are the other way around, so that's proving a little bit confusing. Oh, crane, excellent. You know, bins, kind of like bins. I think it's probably the colours of the bins that attracted me there. Again, I don't really expect any of these to be particularly good. Some might be acceptable. Most will get deleted probably. But yeah, it's for the experience, and every now and then come away with a picture that you like. Ah, crane. See, that's quite nice. So that crane is framed by the tree. Quite like that. Annoyingly, I picked my 50mm for this, when actually that would have been probably perfect for the 35. Tram can't cross. That's frustrating for everyone. What's going on there? Car blocked the way. Ah, you see, that's quite a nice picture. I like that. See how it turns out. I've closed down actually to f8 a little bit, just because I don't really know this lens, and obviously it doesn't work through the rangefinder, so I'm relying on the VisiFlex and the focus peaking, which I think just for the first time I use it, I want a little bit more leeway. Interesting cone there. So the morning was probably not that successful, to be honest. I was sort of umming and ahhing about doing what is probably my most normal commute, which is getting the train from Wimbledon station to Waterloo, and then instead of getting the Waterloo and City line, walking across Millennium Bridge and getting the sort of early morning light there. Quite often a lot of good opportunities for photographs there, but obviously one that I've done quite a lot. So I thought I'd try something a little bit different, which is walking down to South Wimbledon tube station, getting the Northern Line to Bank, and doing it that way and seeing what I could get between my house and South Wimbledon station. There are a couple of little interesting shots there, but as you can see, not a lot. However, fortunately, it was still sunny by the afternoon and everyone else had left the office, so I had the opportunity to leave early, and I thought I'd give it another go. So instead of getting the Waterloo and City line back to Waterloo, I decided to walk back across Millennium Bridge and see what I could find. Hope you enjoy. Annoyingly still not as sunny as it was earlier. Bit of grey, but some sun poking through that might give at least some interesting light. Let's have a look. Okay, that's quite nice. So we've got this bad boy here. It's a very old, well, I don't know about very old, but very cheap 135mm Leica Elmarit. Not something you normally see on an M camera, this. Always the classic view of Tower Bridge. This is reasonably interesting of this boat there. Also quite like looking for interesting things happening on the other side of the road when you've got a long focal length like this. I have to say, just looking at the back of the camera on this, the rendering from this old, cheap Leica lens is absolutely fantastic. I suspect when I get back over the other side of the bridge, I'm going to swap out the 135 again back to the 50. The advantage of the 135 is that you can see people wearing interesting things and take a picture of them, and they don't even know. But that is a vaguely interesting picture, actually. You can compose for longer with people not realizing that you're there.
Wait, I don't know if you're in there.
Don't know if that sounds a bit weird or not. Maybe it does. Kind of like noticing that says erected in AD 1850. Maybe I'm a child. Yeah, everyone's getting a little closer here, so definitely going to change it up. Huh. Yeah, interesting focal length for street photography, 135. I have to say, with a manual focus on an M, not that easy. Yeah. All right, definitely time to change. One of the problems with my approach of walking around to a destination to see if I see anything is that you don't get to wait in a place that you think has potential and wait for something to happen. Instead, you're having to move around and hope that something happens while you move around. And it is different to, you see some perfect framing or an amazing piece of light and you can stand there and wait for something to happen. Just a very different approach. I think I
I wish I had the time to do that because I think it probably yields some better photographs. But that's, I suppose, the downside of trying to fit these things into everyday life as opposed to going out and only focusing on that. Clearly only focusing on that is better, but I don't have the time for it. Part of the enjoyment I get is taking lots of photographs and getting home and going into Lightroom and seeing what, if any, of the things that you picked up are worth keeping. I'm still yet to see how any of these actually turn out. Sort of tempted for a beer, to be honest with you. Not sure it's the right time.
I'm going to clear off this. I'm going to catch a train. So, can you just lock the top door and then the doorway?
I am actually now going to switch to 35. I know that I'm going to regret it because as soon as I switch, I'm going to find something that I wish I had the 50 or I wish I had the 135 on, but I'm going to do it. All right, we've got the 35 Summicron locked and loaded. By far the most expensive lens that I own. I do personally find that with this sensor, the 60 megapixel sensor on the M11, much less when you're moving, when the subjects are moving, much less than 1/500th, does start to look a little bit less sharp. And I know that supposedly it's only amateurs that care about sharpness of the photo, but well, the truth is I am an amateur and I like photos to be sharp. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm sure as I develop, I'm sure as I start to learn more, I will start to realize that unsharp photos are the way forward. But for now, I personally enjoy sharp photographs. I think from a purist's perspective, the other cardinal sin that I've made is switching lenses throughout my walk. I think this is my third lens that I've been on, 4 switches. I think the purists, and I'm sure they're right, would say that to get better at photography, you're meant to just stick with one focal length for a bit and learn to frame yourself, and I'm sure that's true. But again, I am constrained by time. If I see anything interesting on the river, I'll just pick it up. Interestingly, it's a Friday, and although the commute is noticeably less busy on a Friday, this walk is noticeably more busy. I'm sure there's some kind of explanation for that. This guy with the bubbles, in lots of times. Now I am actually going to switch back to my 135. I mean, the 135 really is insanely long for an M-body camera with rangefinder system. I don't really like the VisiFlex generally. I think it's actually quite a lot slower, despite what a lot of people say, than the rangefinder. But I have to say, for this, it is necessary. To be fair, not a lot to be got here. As always, that view of St. Paul's is quite nice, especially if I can wait around just long enough to get a bird in the frame. Adds a little bit of interest, I suppose. There's also a plane coming into it from the background right now, so that's quite fun. Just noticing a little bit of dust on my sensor as I look through the VisiFlex, which is bloody brilliant. Kind of looks like a painting through here. Right, that's probably enough of that. Swan, always worth taking a picture of. actually got one of my favourite photographs here about 2 months ago. I'll put it up on screen now if anybody's interested, of that view just as the moon was rising but the sun had not yet set. And one of the bubbles from that chap had come into the frame exactly diagonal with a bird and with a puff of smoke coming out of presumably the heater or the air conditioning unit from the walkie-talkie tower. I don't know. I'm quite proud of that picture. But yeah. The 135 is certainly a little bit niche. Good for pigeons though.
This guy looks quite interesting.
More pigeons. Well, that's my walk down the south side. I could have done the second bit, but I feel like I probably got what I wanted from it, or we head home. I have to say, having done street photography 2 or 3 times with my 90, I'm pleasantly surprised with the 135. I think it's giving some quite nice photographs. Now the proof will be in the pudding, of course, when I get home and open them up and find that they're all bloody out of focus, but certainly the framing in the viewfinder makes them look like they might be actually all right on them. We shall see. I'd also turned the focus peaking off when I started because I thought it was just confusing. I couldn't really see the picture in that much detail when it's at that longer focal length. But I think actually, given that nothing's going to be in, you know, absolutely sharp focus, doing it this way at f8, I think I need it as a guide. We'll see. I wonder if the metadata on the photograph lets me actually see whether or not I was looking through focus peaking or not. I had focus peaking on or not. I suspect it probably doesn't, but that would be vaguely interesting. Well, you know what comes from this? Gonna have to try the 200 now. Having been pleasantly surprised by the 135, gonna have to get the 200 out for the next trip. I feel like there should be something here. There should be. I'm not quite sure what it is. Let's see.
So just absolutely classically, just as my internal storage on my DJI active cam ran out, I got asked suddenly what I was up to by a very nice guy who I wasn't able to capture, because otherwise I would have, you know, had him on film asking me about what I was up to and about the camera, asked if it was a Leica, clearly very interested in it. And annoyingly, that was exactly as my memory ran out on my active camera, which is quite frustrating. But yeah, always nice for people being friendly, asking what you're up to, and just, you know, explaining what I was doing, which is, you know, just heading home by a slightly long route, so that I can take some photographs, because what I enjoy doing. So yeah, frustrating not to have picked it up on camera because it was quite nice, but still happy to have it happen anyway. Anyway, what I'm going to do is probably take out the Q3 43 now, take a few pictures with it, but also it'll be available in case I need to take any video with it. So we can do that.
Well, that's the end of my first ever YouTube video. Look, I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, got a lot to learn. I enjoyed making it immensely. I'm planning to make many, many more. I will take a lot of learnings from this one, obviously, into my future ones. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed it at all, or if you're interested in how to fit photography into your everyday life and have an interest in Leica cameras and old film cameras, Nikons, then please, yeah, give me a subscribe, and if nothing else, it'll give me a little bit of confidence to go and make some more videos. So yeah, thank you so much, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.